Alright, so we're on our way to check out Durham 12 today, one of the more well-known spots for our area. Started out the day at the Arc, went to Durham 12 with this switch heel in mind. Ended up kind of being a 2-for-1 that day. The other spot we're going to be checking out is actually to our right here. We're going to be revisiting after. That was the kickflip that got me the cover of SBC. So we're going to go check out both spots, talk about the day, and dive into how it all happened. We're just about to arrive at Durham 12 and we'll get right into it. Always thought it was a pretty photogenic spot and always wanted to get a trick on it. Starting out at Arc, I think it was just like me, you, Jermaine, and Jordan warming up, starting the day there.
I remember he did a few switch heels down the 8, and I think Jermaine was nollie flipping it too, just to get him down. And then it was the same thing when Jermaine went to nollie flip it. We just went to Arc. That was kind of the thing. If you wanted to huck, just go dial your trick in at Arc 8, and then wherever you're going to jump, go try it. And then, yeah, we just went straight to the 12 after.
I wanted to get something on this thing, and I think I've tried a few different things. I know I tried tray flip, bruised my heel pretty bad, never got it. Yeah, that day just had switch heel in my head, and luckily I was prepared that day because, speak of the devil, security came right away. We were really here for Jermaine to get a photo of his nollie flip. You can actually see in some of the clips of my switch heel, James Morley is down here setting up. Obviously it looks like he's on the wrong side, but the photo wasn't for me. So I was just in the zone going for ride ups, trying to figure out my speed and stuff. I wasn't too worried about getting a photo of the switch heel. I was just wanting to get it done. Yeah, I don't even remember if Jermaine got to try his nollie flip because security was basically already here. I got a few tries in as they were coming up. I maybe landed on one. I have never been able to land a trick with security coming or right there at the stairs, whatever I'm skating. But this was my lucky day and I was able to pull it off with them kind of right in my face. You can kind of see one basically standing on the landing right here. And then the other one was right at the top, pretty much like I said, right in my face. I was probably popping right around here, and the security guard was basically behind where this rail is now, and obviously these weren't here before, but just so in the zone that day that I was able to block them out, which I wasn't usually good at. Was able to pull it out, kind of threaded the needle between security guards. That's kind of one of the reasons that was always a favorite clip of mine.
That had to have been the last try, because security is in the footage standing right there, and they were being dicks. I remember they were I'm surprised they didn't kind of jump out at him when he was trying to go. Luckily they just stood there. Mitch catches it so perfect, and then you just hear you in the background fucking laughing so hard. That's what I'm talking about. I told you he was gonna do it right behind you, you fucking idiot.
I think the last video you did touching on this spot would have been Jermaine's nollie backside flip, which there was a comment, don't remember who it was by, but he pointed out that this was actually an 11 stair. I don't think any of us caught it when Jermaine came back for his nollie backside flip. But yeah, it is in fact an 11 stair now. Obviously it's only a 1 stair difference. I think they made each step a little bit taller than they used to be. So it feels like it's the same size, just somehow 1 less stair now. So technically it is Durham 11, but does not have a good ring to it. So it's in our heads, it's always gonna be Durham 12. The run up here is pretty perfect. Basic little sidewalk cracks, may have gotten worse over time, but it's definitely run up for days. I always liked just hearing the sidewalk cracks as you're rolling up to it. Aside from those, it's pretty perfect ground. I had it pretty dialed, and yeah, I think I got away with it in 4 or 5 tries probably.
Yeah, you fucking G!
What, 4 tries? It is weird how this is an 11 now. Like you were saying, it doesn't have a good ring to it at all. Durham 11. And we'll get into a little bit of the spot history of the trick history, I should say. With Jermaine's nollie flip, being the first person to skate this thing nollie with a flip trick down it. And then coming back later on after the set was redone and doing that nollie backside flip. That was definitely one of the craziest tricks that I had filmed on this spot was actually both of those. Bobby DeKaiser, he backside flipped this in slub bucks. Will Marshall, he hard flipped this. I believe that was in either social withdrawal or the prodrome. Sean Whitten did a front shove down this thing. I actually think he did it when the rails were here. Clement Lush, I know he skated this back in the day. He might have been one of the very first people to skate it. I feel like it's in an old Scotty's video in the Oshawa crew section. I think someone did like a grab trick down it. I don't know my grab tricks that well. TJ Rogers with the switch front big spin and the switch front 360 that he did. The switch front 360 being the ender of his Bones part that Jordan Moss filmed. Got an honorable mention for Curtis Hartshorn. He 50-50'd like a triple kink wall rail or double kink wall rail, the ender for the homie section in slub bucks. I always loved that clip, and it was just pretty much right here at the 12.
It's so long ago that it's like so faint in my memory, but like I do recall kind of like orchestrating the session. I don't even think the kickflip was like a thought. I think we were just kind of going to shoot on Durham 12. He got the switch heel pretty quick or whatever. And I think we were just driving around trying to figure out what to do, and we passed by that spot and like no one's really skated that.
We just went from here to there and I started scoping it out, walked away with the kickflip cover.
What the fuck? Yeah! Oh my God!
We're just pulling up to the cover spot. Looks like there's a car right in the spot that I landed it. But yeah, we're gonna hop out and dive into more of what happened that day with this kickflip. Yeah, this thing's crazy. Obviously I haven't been here in, well, since I did the kickflip, which was now 10 years ago, summer 2014. And yeah, of course, I'm pretty sure this was the spot I would have landed it in, right where this car is. Don't have Buxton's measurement app, but we did come prepared, old school with the tape measure. Oh. So we're working with about 7 feet and a couple inches. The curb is a little lower than where this kind of meets, but yeah, about 4 or 5 inches. Obviously popping over it, you're gonna add at least a foot or two as well. It's a little bit angled down, so you're kind of rolling on a bit of a slant sideways. It's a drop and pop. It doesn't affect too much, like there's enough run up, somewhat of a curb here. That kind of helps with, or at least forces you to pop a little bit early. It's like just over 5.5 feet, and that's just to the railing. So again, like probably another foot with the length of that curb. We'll touch on some of the other tricks that have gone down on it. To our knowledge, there's only a few. Blinger, Matt Sullivan ollied this thing back in the day. Blinger and Dillon Moore had both tried kickflip, at least I was told that. But I think Blinger had tried it like way before I came for it. And obviously I had no clue, but I do think I remember talking to Dillon Moore about his and kind of making sure that he wasn't planning on coming back for it. I've never really been a big kickflipper. That summer, I think I just had them. Another trick was TJ's front 180. I could be wrong, but I always thought somebody switch ollied it. If anything, I feel like it would have been TJ. Don't know if there's a clip of it. This is, I think I actually like came from up here. That run up is not what it used to be. It was never perfect, but it's that kind of cement where you can kind of feel the gaps between each rock almost. It would be sick to see someone else do something on this thing that hasn't been done, but I think the options are a little limited. Maybe a heel flip, switch heel.
How's it going? What?
Did it 10 years ago, we're just reminiscing.
About 3 times we're skaters here, and then one with BMX with a 90-degree ramp here.
Oh, really?
Really?
That's crazy.
It didn't take him that long. I swear it was like, because you can tell in the footage how surprised you are, like when he was rolling away, you're like, oh, like the most shocked face ever. Like you're not gonna jump down that more than 20 times. It couldn't have been that long, because I remember all of us were like so blown away that he had done it so like quick.
Trying to get the feel for it while James was getting set up, and then Jordan and I think you were setting up with the second angle. It's one of those spots where you're like, every try kind of feels like 10 because of all the impact you're taking. My legs were shot for days after because of the impact of this thing. I didn't even ollie it. I didn't want to like waste or risk wasting myself if I was to like ollie and get any little injury trying to ollie it that would stop me from going for the kickflip. I think if anything, I probably like stood at the wood down there and did like a little acid drop or something to get kind of the feel of like what it would feel like rolling away, and just trying to help like envision the rollaway of it. I think we only got one clip of an attempt before I landed it. It was a weird one where I kind of like flipped the kickflip and it popped a little high where I was like almost able to catch my board and kind of throw it away. You can see my back knee kind of really bend in and like almost buckle. I think my back truck lifts a little bit. It was probably the best kickflip I've done down something, where it just felt like a proper like flat ground kickflip, perfect catch, and I was just not letting go of it once I hit the ground. Like, to have both angles, because it really shows a little more depth to the spot. I always loved seeing the reaction of you guys in the background of the first angle. Obviously you're sitting there behind the second camera and you're just like stunned, like in such shock, and then Jermaine's like just halfway sitting in the car, like can't believe that just happened. I couldn't either. Like it was crazy.
That was the only one he stuck, and I don't think there was any other ones that were like close to that. That one is just like once it hit his feet, boom, done. And the one thing that I remember about that, when he landed the kickflip and the chip on his nose like flew up and it was just like flapping in the wind or whatever, that was probably like one of the gnarliest kickflips I've ever filmed. To this day, no one's still like jumped down that thing.
James just randomly threw out like 20 bucks this try. You see in the clip too, James slaps me the 20 bucks. We're all checking out the clip and the photo James got, and
I think we got it.
I think we got it.
Jordan's like, yo, that's a cover photo, like look how sick that is, kind of thing. And
when he did it and like James showed us the photo after, I swear a few of us were like, that's a cover. Like the photo was like undeniable. Like that was such a good photo.
little did I know it ended up being a cover. I was just hyped to have the photo, period. We actually tried to reach out to James. I guess he's just busy and couldn't get back to us in time, unfortunately. Just trying to get his perspective. He definitely surprised me, and he kind of tricked me a little bit into thinking like he wanted to go reshoot. And I remember the phone call. I wasn't too hyped to be trying to prepare myself to go and jump down something like that I've already done and put my body through more just for a photo, although obviously it can be worth it. So I was willing to, but he told me that. He hit me up and was like, hey, like didn't quite turn out how I thought, kind of thing, like wanted to get another shot of it. So he was gonna come pick me up and we were gonna go for another shoot. Little did I know, he shows up at my front door and like, I don't know if he just had it behind his back or what, but just like pulled out the magazine with me on the cover. And I was like you guys after I landed in the shot, just being like, what the fuck? Like obviously super stoked. First and only cover, and thank you to SBC and obviously James for making that happen. I remember like the cover coming out, and I think just feeling that urge of like wanting the footy to come out with it as well. There was more of a vision in place there, and luckily it was worth the wait, because with the help of Tyler Holm, my Etnies rep at the time, he helped make it become what it was, the Etnies Canada part, between him and Jordan talking me into kind of waiting, not like rushing to put the footy out. Yeah, it all came together, and I was super happy with that part as a whole. But like I said, those two tricks always stood out to me. 10 years later, come back and see this and be able to kind of dive deeper into the story and the day behind that trick happening. Thanks to James Morley and SBC for making that cover happen. Super proud to have that one in my books and on my wall. That's the story.
What the fuck? Yeah! Oh my god!
What the fuck? Woo. There you go, this guy owes you 20 bucks.
Oh my god.
Yo, the photo's amazing.
Let's see.